Okay. Okay. This is my fourth attempt at recording this live stream and starting it. Really? Um, hmm. Let's see. Let's see. Are you live? Are you live? Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So again, four tries. It glitched out on me. I think Nick Rekieta is trying to stymie my effort of exposing his ass. But basically, we do have something. I'm gonna skip over the preamble, frankly, because we do have a limited time span. NY Nreal MD or whatever says that she's here. I think it's a girl, right? Anyway, hello. Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about Nick Rekieta. He's a lawyer, a really low class one, but I mean, just like law school wise, pedigree wise, he's very down low. But through YouTube, he basically hit it first. He was the Ray J of the sector insofar as LawTube is concerned, and so he had one of the bigger audiences. I think he had about 500,000 subs at the peak. The chatter says it's a guy. Okay, I couldn't tell. But anyway, so we're gonna get right into it. In Palm Springs, you are. Okay, great. Now let's kind of just share the screen and get into the business. All right, because we're in a time crunch against. There you go. All right.
With StreamYard or whatever. So I somehow have to get this fucking message out to the people that that this stream's up on Rumble. This isn't going to be a very long stream. I've already streamed for like 30 minutes tonight. See, hold on.
Okay, so you have to understand the concept we're working with today. He's definitely going to be trying to prove that he's sober, and if not sober, at least cognizant of what's going on. So again, this guy's dealing with felony charges in and around the subject of cocaine possession, ketamine, gun charges. He's also having legal issues around the kids and the custody they're in. I think his kids are wards of the state now or something along those lines. And so to lose custody of your, I think, 5 children is pretty tragic. And so just imagine the amount of stress he's under. Plus, again, either if he were really an alcoholic to the degree that he has been, in public being, plus the cocaine addiction and whatever else he's doing, Molly, whatever, he's going to have withdrawals. Even if it's weeks later, there ought to be still signs that he's withdrawing, unless he never did stop, in which case, then maybe he's kind of being a bitch. And even beyond that, he paid 50 grand for himself and then another 50 for his wife, apparently, too. Abstain from drug tests, which, again, is a really bad sign towards sobriety, especially since you have to pay for it. It'd be one thing if you were like, okay, well, for free, fuck you, I'm not pissing in a cup. But it's about saving 50 grand and you're still too cheap morally to kind of sacrifice the booze. I think that's a big deal.
Rumble stream is up. Thanks, Rumble Studio. I had to switch to fucking StreamYard because for whatever reason, Rumble Studio just doesn't have a button to start to like put you in the fucking shot, even though it shows you're in there. I'm sure it was my fault. Legitimately, sure it was my fault, but it was
He seems a little gaunt. I think the skin is really bad. Again, I would compare it to an older picture, but we got to get going with this. The hair looks really bad. The fade, I suppose it's called, and yeah, generally the hairline's felted. Let's skip around a little bit.
Were released about my family, and everybody wants me to address. Are you fucking kidding me?
So he's having technical difficult. Fuck me. I was gonna say difficulties, which might seem like, oh my god, if you're being a douche about it, you can be like, oh, so you're such an alcoholic that you can't get this correct. I think that it's just bad luck in this case, but it just kind of shows what's going on. He's also been bitching. He just said, I've been streaming for half an hour, which connotes that he's been kind of like in a limbo of like trying to set up the Rumble studio while also trying to talk to chat. Which I can kind of relate to because I just spent the last 20 minutes trying to set this up for 4 different attempts, and that's frustrating. More chairs are likely coming. What does that mean? More chairs? Passive contamination cannot explain for the results of his 9-year-old being positive for cocaine. 100%. I think he's guilty as fuck.
Is what I have to do. But I have to talk a little bit about them because I talk in public for a living and people want to know what's going on, obviously. Why is it on this other fucking channel? Rumble right now is really pissing me off. It doesn't matter. We're just going to...
He's seething. He's trying to control himself.
We're just going to do this. I'm going to talk for a minute, very briefly, and then we'll... I'm going to read the chats, and then we'll go. This is not going to be a long stream. It was going to be a much longer stream, but first, the release of information that's supposed to be protected at a very specific time, right after I announce the show and right before the show starts, is something that is concerning. And of course, I will have a lawyer looking into that.
Okay, so he's contesting not the validity of the documents that allege that his daughter tested 10 times over the threshold for cocaine in her hair follicle. He's contesting exactly that basically just that if it was released in a certain way, that it was illegal, which obviously in law is super important. The chain of custody of a lot of things, how the prosecution does things, how they handle evidence. It's super, super important. And you can get a lot of things thrown out in terms of evidence, depending on the procurement they're in. Obviously, the biggest case being OJ, the gloves, whatever, the blood samples, stuff like this. A good lawyer would attack that. And so for him to do that, I understand. Obviously, in a self-preservation aspect, that's completely fine. But again, morally speaking, he's being completely facetious. If the document says one thing, it doesn't matter who got it. It doesn't, if it was in Nick's heart and somebody like cut open his chest and ripped it out, that's still a true document. And so for him to not even deny the results of that test is really bad.
Right away. I know people want to draw conclusions from whatever's going on. And look, there's no way around it. There's nothing to say other than people will get to draw their conclusions from what they read. I'm not here to fight you guys at all. I'm not here to fight your conclusions. I'm not here to fight or justify or prove.
Then why are you here? Why are you even live? If I had charges on my head that were pertinent to children, then I would actually defend it. And you might say, well, you shouldn't speak in public, during a trial or before. I understand that. But the truth is that there's a way to talk without incriminating yourself. And you could talk in esoteric terms. Again, the guy's a lawyer. He's able to suss this out. I could probably pull it off, and I'm not even in law school yet. Give it another 14 months. But anyway, the point being is that we do have some chats. There's 9 of you watching right now. Like the stream so that we can kind of get this out to my subscribers, because what happens with the live stream is that the live stream only notifies a very, very small sliver of somebody's audience. And so that's important. So NY says that he reached out to him and other YouTubers. He's a medical director of methadone clinics. He is obviously still drinking and using cocaine to balance out. I think he is drinking too. Now, how do you know about the coke? And also, I'm pretty sure alcohol withdrawals are stronger than most things. Stronger, I think, than coke withdrawals. Again, I don't know. He was doing a ton of blow, obviously, given the felony level that he had in his house. And God knows how much he bought originally and how much that was just the remainder therein. And so it's really hard to suss that out. I don't really, obviously, I know less about coke than I do about liquor. And so we have to look into that. His suspicion, the chatter's suspicion, is that it's really sad that the 9-year-old believes is autistic. I think perhaps he was using the cocaine as behavior control drug. He was having a swinging fest with his throuple. I don't really think so. I think probably what happened is that Nick Rekieta probably left a bullet of coke somewhere, and the 9-year-old kind of was playing with it, or the 9-year-old was like, oh, I wonder what's in here. Or maybe the 9-year-old had a vague idea of what coke was and was like, okay, well, if they're having fun, then I'll try it. That might be it. Insofar as Nick Rekieta being dumb enough to, instead of giving his daughter Adderall or Ritalin or something that a lot of white people do with their kids, instead, if Rekieta were to perhaps medicate her with coke, I think that's asinine. And again, he could be a complete degenerate. I doubt he's actually that stupid. Like, that's honestly like beyond belief. In fact, if you look at Bolivian cartels or whatever, I don't think those people on the hills are that stupid in South America to medicate their own children with cocaine. I don't think they're that stupid. So why would Nick Rekieta be that bad? Okay. But again, I know nothing about this. The house was gross and unmaintained. He also had multiple parking ticket hearings. He didn't pay registration for his insurance. Again, that's a really bad look. It shows a lack of responsibility. If a prosecutor were to go against the Rekietas, both of them separately, and say, you know what, you guys are derelict in your duties as parents to these 5 children, these 5 minor kids, and then there's some obviously exculpatory evidence insofar as, again, you're not showing up to court for civil violations. You're not even paying for the insurance on your vehicle or registering it theoretically. Then it kind of shows that you really don't care about what's happening with you. Obviously. 12 people in chat. Everybody needs to like the stream so that we can get this out to my whole fan base here. All 2 of you. Anyway, NY says the house was gross. Oh, sorry. No, Omar says, I'm behind on the story. So Nick made bail, but he's facing time. Yes, he paid a $50,000 bail for himself and then his wife. These are multiple felony charges. I think it's like 3 or 4 having to do with gun charges, and because there's charges having to do with being on drugs plus having a lethal firearm. He also didn't have them in a safe place. I think he had guns underneath the bed, which is not a good idea when you have kids around. That's not the end of the world, I think, but still. And then beyond that, you also have obviously the cocaine felony possession. He had ever so slightly more coke than what is legally a felony. Had he had a little less, it would have been a way lesser charge, but that's the way it works. He had about 27 grams of coke, and that's like 8 balls. And an 8 ball, I think, is obviously like an 8 ball. So it's like this. So imagine if you had like fucking a shit ton of coke. It's insane, actually. That's like hard to fathom, because from what I've read, an 8 ball is supposed to last you like a couple days, I think. And so for you to have several of those, even if you're splitting it with 2 people, that still is a shit ton of coke. I don't know. That's He also had paraphernalia. He had like coke straws, I think, credit cards by where it was. He had a safe where he put it in. He had digital scales and multiple of them, I think. Because obviously, if you only have one, then you could be measuring apples. But if you have like 4, then I mean, you could assume. I'm not sure about those details. He also had, I think, 8 ketamine tablets, which is really bad. Also, the Aaron M. Holt guy who was part of that polycule said that they were doing Molly maybe and like some brown substance. I don't know what that is exactly, but all pretty bad news in my opinion. The alcohol is dangerous to stop without help. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've seen that. Actually, what's similar to Nick's story is Leaving Las Vegas with Nicolas Cage, where the guy is a super, super alcoholic and he dies. Very scary. Um, it cannot be from passive exposure. It's enough for using 5 to 7x a week. Well, what does that mean? Stupid question. Who is Rekieta? Nick Rekieta is the preeminent, kind of like the first guy to start doing law splaining the interwebs, is what I think what it was called. So he would cover the Johnny Depp trial, as you can see right there. That was his highlight in life. And he covered the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. He had, like, in his peak, honestly, he had like 100,000 people watching him for the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. And I vividly remember even people that I used to work for at Kroger, basically, would talk about like, hey, did you see the Nick Rekieta stream? And I vaguely knew of him, obviously, because I've been following the sector, so to speak, since like 2018. So I had a vague idea of who that was. But to see him that famous and then to fall so far is astounding. Astounding. Um, the kids also complained to other people outside the household that they were hungry and didn't have a change of clothes for many days. Okay. Yeah, I saw all that. Joe Shabatoni says, wait, hold on. What the fuck? Can I not read it? I'm reading chat. 26 grams isn't typically for personal use. Well, that's interesting. Now, another little tidbit is that he had to drive over an hour and a half, I think, both ways to go to Minneapolis to buy drugs, which makes sense. Obviously, you're not going to get a lot of blow in Spicer, Minnesota. Nobody's ever heard of this. I think the closest thing to my recollection would be maybe Fargo in the Dakotas or St. Cloud, Minnesota. But the point being is that he had to drive to the Twin Cities, which to buy coke, and so I think he probably bought more than what he would had otherwise if the plug were 5 minutes away driving distance. And so I think that he probably was doing like Dollar Store, Costco, where he's like, I'm going to buy this shit in bulk, which again is a horrible idea because again, if you get busted with, let's say you're doing coke for a weekend. Theoretically, I don't know how much that would be, but let's say it's 1 8-ball. That 1 8-ball could be a misdemeanor. Whereas if you have what Rekieta had a felony on his ass, and that's a really bad idea. And again, like logistically speaking, it's easier, obviously, because then you don't have to go to the Twin Cities as often. But I mean, if you get busted, imagine a DUI or something, and then they look into your shit somehow, you're done. And also, if you're driving and you're buying coke, you might be on coke when you're driving. Now, I have no clue what it does to your driving skills. I'm assuming it doesn't help. It might lock you in. In fact, I have no clue. Also, it's one thing for you to do coke and kind of like get lit for a party one time, like let's say every other month, like a college kid that's rich, versus Rekieta, where he was always on it, which kind of gets to a chemical dependency aspect and angle. And so, who are you talking to, Lalo? I'm talking to myself.
Of anything, I don't need to do that for you. Believe it or not, a lot of really well-meaning friends want me to do that. And these people are lawyers, which is shocking. They want me. I'll say it this way. They say, Nick, you need to do X, Y, and Z because of your YouTube channel and your online image. And my response is, sir, madam, I don't know if you know this, but the lowest priority in my life right now is my public image for the purposes of YouTube and Rumble. So any of you who want me to come out here and like do some weird grandiose apology or prostrate myself in front of you, let me just help you with my public image right now. Fuck you. Right in your goddamn mouth.
Sheesh, what the fuck? Yo, optics check. Yo, what the fuck? Yo, rackets, bro, come on.
Apology or prostrate myself in front of you. Let me just help you with my public image right now. Fuck you. Right in your goddamn mouth. I'm not here to worry about what you think about me. And that should be obvious to damn near anybody. And if you think it's in my character to come out and grovel before you and say, oh, I'm so sorry I let you down. I didn't let you down. I didn't pick you up. I didn't make you, and I didn't make promises to you. So if you feel
Worst dad of the year, by the way. That's like deadbeat dad in 101. I didn't make you. Well, actually, I guess it's the other way around because your dad does make you. But I'm saying like he's saying I'm not a part of this. Fuck you. I don't own you. I don't owe you anything, which is super stupid. Again, court of public opinion. You have a real life court date coming up soon, Nick. But the truth is that court of public opinion still matters. Of course, you know, anybody who's in the legal profession, if you want a career going forward, even if you were to beat the case on some technicality, which we're all here hoping for because that'd be funny, we really need to see what's going on insofar as you going after other people for their inadequacies and their inequities. When you have these issues, you're fucking arrogant as shit. Despite being pushed against the wall. And with a lot of addicts, there's a common turn of phrase or really a parlance that says something along the lines of that you need to hit rock bottom to really get a good bearing of like what the fuck the alcohol has done to you, the cocaine, etc. He's not reached rock bottom. This guy could be in prison for several years, lose custody of his children, basically be a bastard dad in some cases, and lose all of his money, lose his legal license. But this is the way he's dealing with it. It's a really bad look to say fuck you to the fans and the people that are hating on him. It's ridiculous. Again, if I were him, I would pretend like nothing was happening, hardly acknowledge it at all, and then just try to legally win it outside of the YouTube, and then just keep making live streams. Be sober or as sober as possible, and then, you know, kind of the judge and all the, you know, the prosecutor, whoever's really meat watching the streams can say, okay, well, this guy is clearly either sober or at least he's kind of like weaning off of everything, and therefore, you know, maybe he should get his kids back, or therefore let's give him a diversion program, let's actually, you know, maybe give him rehab or something. But instead, he's making it worse. He's having pride, and the pride doesn't get you anywhere because, again, you need to humble yourself. And he's a trust fund kid. He's entitled. I have a lot of these issues too. Difference being is that I don't have a felony charge on my back, and so that's a really big difference. And so for him to be in this case is ridiculous. For him to kind of see himself and see like, whoa, I fucked up, and he still has not yet acknowledged that. And so for him to just tell off the haters is ridiculous. Okay, to give it oxygen is ridiculous.
feel let down by me, let yourself down from the stool, Robin Williams. I'm not
Huh?
here for you. I'm not here.
Okay, so he just implied, he made a reference, which I'm lucky to pick up on because obviously Robin Williams killed himself like 10 years ago with a belt, I think, off a stool, I guess, in a hotel room, I think. But as of 2014, that was my recollection. And so Nick is implying, like, okay, jump off the stool and kill yourself, which, again, not a good look. If you're saying, I don't care what you think, then why tell people to kill themselves in this, like, again, like esoteric sense? Why? Why even have that feeling in your heart? If you're being disingenuous, then just say so. Obviously, he's not going to confess that. The point being is that he's butthurt as shit. He's butthurt. He's felt it. I mean, look at his fucking skin. I honestly think he's wearing makeup, for starters, and he still looks like dog shit. I could drink a fifth of vodka somehow and still look more like alive than Nick Rekieta. I mean, this is just ridiculous. And I would like the chat to let me know about Coke because I don't know what that does to someone's skin. But insofar as alcohol, it obviously makes you kind of red. And so he looks a little brown here, despite looking red before the charges got introduced to his life. And so it seems like he's using I don't know if that's called foundation, like the brown powder girls use. So maybe his wife is sweeping it up by actually applying makeup to kind of make him look more full. And ironically enough, the Joker, who's like an anorexic loser in his 40s, the guy in the poster behind him, actually looks more vivacious, like skin-wise. He looks more, I guess, functioning.
Own your feelings, and I'm not here to apologize to your feelings and sensibilities either. And if I did, you shouldn't respect me because anybody who comes out like a little fucking bitch and says, I really am worried about my public image, not my family, not my liberty, not holding government accountable, none of that. But my public image, my public image? Well, you're probably a fat Canadian or maybe a skinny Canadian who can't fly to the right city. Or maybe you're a doughy Minnesotan. I don't know who you are, but I'm not here to apologize to you or for anything.
Okay. I'm trying to catch up to chat, but there was a ton of shit, and so I'm like trying to like parse through. NY says, compare Nick Rekieta's pickup to one you have now. What the fuck? Compare Nick Rekieta's pick to the one you have up right now in the video of the arraignment after a night of sleep and no use. He looks better. He looks like ass now. He's using again. Okay, that's a good point. Yes. Yeah, and again, I don't really blame him too much for continuing to use because obviously withdrawals are really bad, like from what I've seen. And so like obviously I wouldn't quit cold turkey, especially if you're that alcoholic. Obviously, if well, I don't drink every day, but like the point being is like I wouldn't have any withdrawals because I'm not chemically dependent on it. Now, Nick Rekieta was fucking ass blasted. The guy was like looking at ceiling cats and whatever have you, and so he most likely on stream was probably, maybe like a fifth of vodka in. And what I mean is like proportionately, he was probably at the legal driving limit in Arizona, at least for DUI is 0.08. I think he was probably like at a zero point 0.2 average for live streams, like to 0.2 to 0.3, which again is around the blackout zone. 0.02 or something is right around the point where you'd actually start losing memory. So to imagine being that fucked up in public is insane. And so the withdrawals ought to be also pretty ludicrous as well. So insane stuff. So I recommend he would actually taper off. For the court to give him bail and then have him do piss tests is a little egregious because obviously if you're having withdrawals, that's a really tough thing to fight through. That being said, obviously I would probably, let's say if he's drinking 2/5 of vodka, just theoretically, I would maybe taper it down to maybe half of one a day. I think that could be fine. Just be buzzed and be not dying of tremors and shit. I'm assuming that's how it works. Again, I don't have experience with it, but that's what I would say. Insofar as the coke withdrawals, I have no clue how that shit functions. But again, and also the coke is super dangerous. Okay, Nick could buy all the booze he wants and it'd be perfectly legal. The coke, on the other hand, he's risking going to jail again. And if he goes to jail again over coke, he's fucked. Okay, he's a first-time offender. First-time offenders, legally, from what I've seen, have a really easy time to get diversion programs to get their charges dismissed, especially at the misdemeanor level. But once you get to felony, it's a hard sell. But Nick has money. He is a lawyer himself. He ought to maybe get that favorable treatment. But the guy, in and of himself, has cursed out the judge in his previous case. And so he doesn't have a good track record of actually keeping his mouth shut towards the people that have his fate in their hands. And so let's keep going. Is it glitching? Okay.
I am under the thumb of government at the moment, which means government gets to say whatever they want about me, and I don't get to respond. That's a shit place to be. We've talked about it a lot on this show. What's funny is a lot of my colleagues have talked a lot about it too. But the moment it happens, they all tuck their nuts up into their own assholes and become the biggest pack of fucking gabbling women I've ever seen. Running around, come out, apologize, bow down, bow, beg, tell everybody that you're sorry.
I think it's like Dollar Stone Monty Python. This is like an older reference, but I mean, the impersonations are shit. He's mocking his fans.
For what? What am I sorry for? They don't know what I'm supposed to be sorry for. I don't know what I'm supposed to be sorry for. What I know is that government has accused me of some criminal acts. Those criminal acts have impacted me and my family. The accusation from government is not a conviction. It may convict you in the eyes of people, and that's fine. If I'm convicted in your eyes, good.
Fucking fool.
Go find.
You're a fucking fool. You're a fucking fool, Nick. Really? If I'm convicted in your eyes? Are you kidding me? These are serious charges. It's not like if I said, I got a DUI, therefore, if I'm convicted, fuck you guys, it's not a big deal. That you could argue that. But to say, like, oh, my daughter tested positive to coke at 9 years old, and you say, if I'm convicted, that's fine. Have that opinion. No, fuck that, dude. That is actually really reprehensible behavior. Like, actually, if your daughter somehow got her hands on coke at 9 years old, 10 times over the legal threshold to actually mark for cocaine positive in her hair, that is fucking disgusting. That is fucking gross. And even to make it worse, apparently that 9-year-old just recently turned 9. That hair follicle test tracks cocaine from months ago. And so that girl is probably 8 years old, in and around or doing coke. That is fucking disgusting. Fucking disgusting. Imagine what coke does to a grown man's heart, like with, making holes in it and shit. Imagine what it does to a little girl, man. Again, horrible, reprehensible behavior. At best, he was negligent and let a little girl, access cocaine. Or at worst, he was actually giving it to her. And so either way is disgusting. And for him to have a sense of pride and still say, fuck you if I'm convicted, that is a disgusting ego to have. Disgusting. I hate it.
Someone else. You're now validated. I bid you adieu. I'm sorry I let you down by never promising anything and doing something that you didn't approve of, maybe.
What area of law would you like to specialize in? I would say defense, obviously. Prosecutors are not that smart. Like, think of the smartest prosecutor, and the truth is that virtually anybody who does prosecutorial work, if they were better, would do defense work because they get paid more. That's the way I see it, and there's more room for improvement, obviously. Maybe I'm wrong about that, because mind you, everything I say on stream now could be used against me later, kind of like when you talk to a cop. but politically. Like I could be talking to a prosecutor and they'll be like, you called me a midwit. It's like, look, true, but also like I am correct. And so like let's not have an ego about it. I want to be a defense attorney. I think I'm good enough for it. I've already talked to several lawyers because I'm looking into internships for next year and law school, and I'm trying to get letters of recommendation. So I'm trying to see who's the best person to talk about with this. But the point being is that, I've spoken with several lawyers at this point, and I'm sharper than all of them. Now, granted, I haven't talked to the best ones yet because I'm broke. Well, no, I'm not broke, but when your net worth is 4 figures, you ought to really get it together. Me, okay, so I mean, I could cut it as a defense attorney. Now, what in defense law I want to do? I want to do criminal defense for starters. Civil cases, they're not as interesting to me. They're not as interesting, and so that's probably just how I'm going to narrow it down. I'm not even close to making that choice yet. Insofar as like, let's say somebody wants to do copyright law or intellectual property or patent law and shit like that. That seems pretty boring. I want to defend criminals, I think. And I looking into the law, I think it's really strict, really strict. I used to be kind of like throw the book at these criminals, but not really. Especially first time offenders and college kids. I actually was thinking about it. If you were to prosecute a frat house on any given Saturday, okay, you would have like 20 misdemeanors right off the jump because of minor in possession of alcohol, maybe potential DUIs of people pulling up and shit like this. People, 20-year-olds that are obviously old enough to drink, in my opinion. And so, like, it's pretty clear that the law in and of itself is kind of egregious insofar as how strict it is. And, that's the way it's tailored because you want plea deals. And so you want to really overcharge somebody so that they cop a plea, even if they're not guilty, which is a shitty thing, but that's the way it has to work. And so,
Except that thing that I'm supposed to have done still remains to be seen. But I will say this, I will be holding government to its full accountability to the extent of my rights. And anybody who thinks I should.
So again, the blame and the responsibility. You are 40 years old. You have kids. You do this polycule orgy nonsense. You swing around. You go to the gay club or whatever have you, Nick. And you, beyond that, also have the alcoholism and the cocaine addiction. And you place the blame on the technicalities that might or might have not been broken by the government. It kind of shows you where his mind state's at. And, is the government slanted against the defendants? Obviously, yeah, because they want to prove their case. They want to get plea deals. But the truth is that oftentimes you are guilty. Even, by the way, most people that don't go to trial are still fucking guilty if they cop a plea. Is the system kind of rigged in a way? Sure. But it's definitely not like this grand conspiracy against Nicholas Robert Rekieta of Spicer, Minnesota. It just isn't the case. It just is not true. There's no conspiracy against them. You're not that big of a deal, Nick. And to blame it on, the government overreaching is bullshit. It's bullshit. There's basic responsibility here. Even if there was no government, for you to be at church on fucking cocaine or whatever have you, or drunk out of your ass is horrible, 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 horrible.
Shouldn't do that. Okay. I don't know what law channels you're watching. Probably a cockeyed Koreans or something.
A cockeyed Korean? Who? I don't get the reference. But again, passive-aggressive swipe at some other law tuber, I'm assuming. Okay, L. Jim says, Lalo, please, flapping your hands does not make you more interesting. I would say it doesn't have to. I just emote in my own way. So shut the fuck up. You don't want me to kind of... I'm gonna get the Bill Clintons on you. I feel your pain. George Bush doesn't care about black people. Well, actually, that's Kanye. But anyway, the point being is like, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. It depends on what the definition of is. I love the American people. See, is this really what you want me to do here? Is go like this? Kind of like this? So I don't have to fidget as much? Okay.
Someone who doesn't understand the value of innocence until proven guilt. Someone who doesn't understand the value of constitutional rights. Or maybe people who just like to talk really big about not listening to government until the government comes knocking. Then suddenly, they're fucking pussies.
Is this pre-recorded? No. What's up, my Mexican fella? Yeah, what's up, hater cell? Anyway, what else is here? Time to take off the makeup. Okay, I'll take it off. Why would I wear makeup? That's ridiculous. Not because I'm morally opposed to wearing makeup, but because I wouldn't want to spend the money on it first. And then second would be that obviously that's gay and I don't need makeup. I don't need makeup. I might need lifts. I don't need makeup. Anyway. All right.
Running around in the truest definitions of a 90s faggot. Crying, prostrating themselves, begging for the leather to put their tongue on. Like it's a big chocolate starfish.
What?
Of their local police chief or whatever. Sorry. You will never, ever find that attitude from me or my channel. And you will never have me apologize to you for anything in my life other than being late to streams and being generally inept and retarded at running them.
He thinks he's so smart. He thinks he's so clever. Again, this arrogant fucking prick. The only thing I have to apologize for is being late to my stream. Fuck you, you piece of shit. Fucking scum. Fucking scum. Fucking scum.
I'll apologize for that because I'm guilty of that. But anybody
He's copying a plea to being late to his stream, meanwhile his fucking 9-year-old daughter allegedly tested positive for cocaine. Fuck me, man. He's horrible. He's a horrible person. But anyway, I don't know how to say your name. Killer Tony, something like that. Kind of like the Ballad of Gay Tony from GTA 4 DLC. Lalo going the casino route. Good move. We love the casino. In fact, I figured it out kind of. Well, not really, but basically, I was in Detroit and I was talking about my friend. We were planning on going to Windsor, but I didn't bring my passport, and so that seemed untenable. But anyway, I was like, wait a minute. Warski and PvP are from like what, Toronto or Mississauga, Ontario. And so I was like, wow, maybe I could visit my boy Pierre Polyev and those guys. Not really, but I'm just saying like they were within like 3 or 4 hours of me, which was kind of surreal. Because you got to imagine, I'm in like, I'm in suburban Arizona. So it's like, God knows what, like 2,000 miles away. Who knows? Super far.
out there speculating right now about whether or not a government document is accurate, well,
Advice: never live stream about a legal case against you, lol. Look, the point is that, no, actually, yeah, you can. You just need to be smart about it. Just look, what I would do is just appeal to kind of esoteric ideas. Like, okay, like I'm doing this for the community. Kind of like be like what those like moms do when they post on like Facebook about how they donate to charity. Do that, but like for this sector where you're like, okay, well, I'm doing this legal coverage. I'm defending myself on these nebulous charges, kind of, but don't address the specifics of it so that you don't get in trouble, but kind of like ameliorate the public perception of you. Yes.
I'll let you determine if government is accurate or not. It's not up to me. It's up to the government to prove they're accurate. As for me, I have a lot to say about what is
Okay. William Meister says the cringiest part is that he literally made millions out of the suffering on the internet and mocking and accusing other people, and he seems surprised it's his turn for a full meltdown crash out. I don't think he's surprised. It's more so that he just doesn't want to. He just doesn't want to take it, which is fine. I understand that. Like, obviously, I've made fun of other people. I've roasted other people. I've like kind of tore other people apart in certain cases. And if that were to happen to me, I wouldn't like that. Now I understand fundamentally. I don't have as big of an ego as Nick Rekieta. I'm not as arrogant. I could say like, okay, I get it. I'm getting my ass kicked today. Fine. But he can't acknowledge that. But insofar as like not wanting to take the hit, that's fine. That's normal. In fact, if I were Nick Rekieta, I'd be fighting the charges too, because again, copying a plea isn't always the best idea. But that being said, yeah, I mean, for example, if I were Nick Rekieta, I would have hit my rock bottom at that point. He hasn't because he's so addicted. Now, granted, I've never been addicted to alcohol or cocaine, or I haven't even tried a lot of the shit he's tried. But the point is like clearly Nick Rekieta is most certainly not at that level where he cares enough about his surroundings. Okay. Like for me personally, if I got something even smaller than Nick, like if I got caught with like an 8-ball, or if I got caught with like a misdemeanor, it would change the way I think about things completely, because it's a serious thing. It could really fuck you up. Now, a misdemeanor is not that big of a deal, obviously, but I'm talking about a felony. A felony, and multiple of them, is nothing to scoff at. And so for him to be this kind of like dismissive of it is a disgusting factor.
is on documents that have been released. Paper copies of documents released before they're available to the public. That's a little strange. Case files that are protected being accessed by members of the public. That's a little strange. The timing of certain drops coming out. That's a little strange.
Okay, Tony the Tiger says, actually, the cringiest part is that he's a typical lawyer, treats his family bad, uses drugs, and is corrupt and mean. No, not really. I would say, and I've talked to like a half a dozen lawyers, and I think they're different. A lot of lawyers, I will say, some of them do abuse alcohol, which is fine. I don't really care as long as you get the job done. I'm like, who am I to judge? Which sounds like a white person thing to say, like, oh, they're a grown adult, you can do what you want. But it is true. A lot of smart people can have a couple whiskeys over the span of several hours and be completely cognizant of what they're doing, and obviously that's the case. But yeah, so I don't think most lawyers do coke, and if they do it sparingly. Like if you go to vacation to Bangkok and you do a couple lines, that's most likely not going to affect your legal profession. Whereas this guy's doing lines in Spicer, Minnesota, so not the happiest of times for this guy.
strange. The thinness of a search warrant's probable cause statement, very strange. But it's not for me to fight these things on YouTube. And anybody who suggests that I should, or that I have some duty to explain to you my legal strategy, my legal avenues for doing this, or that anything I say or don't say is somehow either an admission or an omission of some duty I owe to the general public. Anyone who's saying that, anyone who is saying that is a lying grifter in the truest, not funny sense of the word. And I have zero respect for anyone like that, especially if they call themselves a lawyer. Anyone who calls themselves a lawyer and immediately demands me to run out and bend over before government not only shouldn't be a lawyer, they shouldn't be an American, and they shouldn't be a lot of other things. Because last I checked, we don't do that round here. I've long talked about the transparency of courts.
And it ducks a little slow. We're going to boost it up. We do have 20 viewers right now. Let's get those likes up to 20. Obviously, that seems like an easy goal to hit. Let's catch up with some more chat. Send them to go fight in Ukraine, says Omar. Okay. Okay, look, he's so... But look at this. This guy's like 6'2", $140. He's a bitch. He's a little bitch. 6'2", $140. $140 is like, 140 ought to be like when you're like 5'4" or something. Okay, like really small manlet. Now he's just tall and wiry. What do you call it? White people say like when you're tall and skinny, wiry. Yes. Okay. Anyway, it's odd that lawyers listen to Rekieta insofar as he's incompetent and never had any trial experience till now, his own. I think it's because he, like I said, he was pioneering the law tuber area, and so that niche was fulfilled by him. And I think it's pretty pertinent to point out that when you're the first person to complete on a niche, it allows you to basically take over whatever happens thereafter. And so what I mean is like, it's like if you put a barrel out and you're the first guy to put a barrel out while it's raining, you're gonna have more water in your barrel than anybody else who sees it's raining and they come back later. The point being is that he got there first, at least from what I understand, years ago. And so when it came time to have a big social media trial like the Kyle Rittenhouse one, or let's say before that, I think it was the Johnny Depp one, he was the biggest one at the time. And so when people looked it up, they got Nick Rekieta. And so Nick Rekieta, let's say, had 2,000 people watching at the time. He went all the way to 100. Whereas had he started out when that trial happened, he would have been at, let's say, 50 viewers. And then he would have probably went up to like maybe 3,000. And then he would have capped off there. And so that's why it's so important to find a niche and actually be the first one there. As time goes on, it gets more difficult, of course, to find a new niche as people have basically explored the whole world, so to speak. And so it's like finding a new island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. But by any means, he definitely got lucky in that respect. And you can see how years after that, those trials are not in their headlines, that all of a sudden his clout is going down. And this is even before, by the way, the charges he had lobbied against him. And so you can see how felt he is. So the reason why lawyers listen to Nick is because Nick probably has the most seniority insofar as being in that sector of law tubers. That's why. Not because they think, oh my God, this guy went to Northwestern, this guy went to Yale Law School, or something cool. No, in fact, he probably went to some like bitch ass Minnesota one, but I have such dry mouth right now. Killer Tony says, Lalo, you're doing good, dog. Sweet. Okay, whatever. Nick is on record saying that he is broken because his mother dressed him up as a girl when he was 2. That's awful. That's actually really bad. That's really bad for a couple of different reasons. It's not saying that the mom was evil because she probably just thought it was a gag and that it was funny. But if you start dressing up a little boy in dresses, that could be really, really weird. And I'm not saying Nick Rekieta is gay, but if you put on girl stuff on a little boy, it might not make him gay, but in fact might make him more over-sexualized or make him more curious at a young age, which could then turn into like less related issues. And so for that to be true, assuming it is, that is actually explaining a lot right now.
Therefore, it's amazingly ironic to me that people hear me talk about that. They'll agree with me. The transparency of courts was always to hold government accountable, by the way, not your fellow man. It was always to hold government accountable. It was because prior to the United States, the legal system was that of the King of England, and he had the Star Chamber. He was the court.
Killer Tony says, why is your stream so late compared to your chat? And don't call me Gay Tony. I had your back, dickhead. Well, I'm saying, no, Gay Tony is a reference to a video game DLC on Grand Theft Auto 4 from like 2010, maybe. So that's not a pejorative. That's literally what the game is called, Ballad of Gay Tony. You don't play as Gay Tony. That's like the side character in it, okay, that runs a gay club or some shit. I vaguely remember that from when I was like 7, but he will be charged for more for the 9-year-old and he knows it. That's a really big deal too. Yeah. Holy shit. Anyway, what else? Like, sub, I did. Okay, we're at 12 likes. We have 18 viewers, folks. Let's get that ratio up, please. Pretty please, por favor. Por favor. Okay. Omar says, I think Legal Eagle did LawTube before him, but I may be wrong. I'm pretty sure you're wrong, actually. I'm pretty sure you're wrong. The OG LawTube guy is the weirdo from Lawful Masses. I don't know who that is. Vegas and Bama says, so felt it. In what respect? Who? Nick? NY says, he had a serious alcohol problem and he started using cocaine to balance it out and stay awake for the streams. Sorry, but that seems reasonable. And so again, it's one thing to do coke to get lit, and then because it's an upper, and then he's doing coke to just stay awake, which again is like, well, then stop drinking. I don't get it. Because okay, so the alcohol is supposed to lower your inhibitions to a certain point and kind of relax you, and then you can be more jovial, I suppose, and kind of exuberant. But then you get to a point where you're like falling asleep and you black out. So he's saying like, well, I'm gonna black out, but then also be on coke so that I stay cognizant. So then at that point, why not just drink before you get to the blackout, right? Or am I wrong? I don't know. Maybe being super drunk and on coke feels better than one or the other. I don't know. Anybody with chat with experience can probably snitch on themselves. I don't think you'd go to jail, but point being is that I don't know how that works.
He was the enforcement arm of law, the judgment arm of law, and those courts were held in private. People's charges were private. The details about them were private. The public wasn't allowed to analyze them. I've talked about how even though it can be embarrassing, our country was founded on the principle of distrust of its authority, distrust of its government, a healthy, necessary evil of putting a few people in charge of many, but holding them accountable and adhering to freedom. And the amount of fucking pussies out there now who consistently lose that principle and say, no, actually, government must be correct at all times, baffles me. Baffles me more when they work with the government in the system and still think that way. I will not. I never will. You'll never get that from me on this channel. I will not be coming out here crying to you about something that didn't ever involve anyone here. You watch this show because for some reason it entertains you. I often fucking wonder what it is. Because
Self-felt moment.
I couldn't watch my show. I would find it terrible. And maybe you do. Maybe that's what you like. That's cool. Maybe you find it wildly enjoyable. That's great. I'm glad. I come out here to entertain you. Now, this stream is not about entertainment, although many of you will probably be entertained by it, and that's good. This stream is one of the few real serious streams that I have to do because I will be back full-time streaming. And this was going to be the announcement for that.
This is so awkward to watch. Nick does not know what he's doing. Killer Tony says he's never played the DLC. Ballad of Gay Tony is what we're referring to. And won't bring up the saggy G word. Oh, okay, I get it now. I never thought about Nick's non-red appearance being makeup. I read somebody else saying that it was makeup, but then it actually clicked for me. Because you can tell if you look at the neck, is my cursor on? Yeah, okay, so if you look at his neck, this skin is more red than is the top. You know what I mean? Like, so like for his sake, he ought to wear that bitch, the blonde from Nexium or whatever it's called, the Colt, where it's like a turtleneck, you know, the Steve Jobs. But thought he sobered up a bit, but he's still a degenerate. No, I think he is definitely more sober than usual. You would have to see his most recent stream. I think he took it down, but like he was way more fucked up. In fact, Nick Rekieta was probably again blacked out in the last stream, whereas here he's probably like at a 0.1. Like he'd probably still get a DUI in the state, but he's still like he's not blacked out is what I mean. So he'll still remember this, I guess. Asher says the alcohol is for the anxiety. Yeah, I mean that could be true. That's like how in the old movies they say, you know, take a shot to take the edge off. I understand that concept, but he did more than that. He's like, you know, I'm gonna take the edge off every 3 minutes, you know. And also, I noticed the Kino Casino covered how many fingers his shots of whiskey were or scotch. Because normally, if you're doing a shot, it ought to be, let's say, 1.5 ounces, I think. And so he was doing, what, like 3 or 4? So disgusting shit. And just straight, too, like no chaser, I think, which, again, is hardcore. That's gross. Oh, sorry. The local cops pulled him over about a dozen times and never DUI'd him. He got warnings. He got a huge pass, and he was so fucked up he never paid his insurance or registration. That seems legit. Killer Tony says, yeah, okay, we got you. Okay, we have 21 viewing right now. Can we get the likes up to that amount?
A little bit of recognition of the differences in the studio that I have. Or well, not different. It's the same studio, but different decorations and arrangements of things. And there's still some stuff to be done on it. we were going to talk about my biggest current concern, which is I got more fan mail, but tonight's no longer appropriate for that. Yes, that's right. In the midst of all of this, I got an ethics complaint for swearing too fucking much, which puts me at, I think, 57. I think. I lost count. It was going to be a more entertainment focused show. I know people are going to have commentary, they're going to have questions, they're going to have demands about my situation. And I'll just have to say, all the things I'm going to say impactful to my case will be said through counsel in court. They won't be said here. You've watched this channel long enough, you should understand that. And if that's not acceptable to you, too fucking bad. There's no other way for me to do it. Right now, I am charged with a serious felony. Many of you have heard that sentence. Possibility is 25 years. It's a very unlikely outcome for someone like me, but it is a possibility, I suppose, in the grand scheme of things. That's not something to be taken lightly. It's not something to be laughed at. People come out and they say, Nick hasn't taken accountability for his actions. And I'm like, the government hasn't proven my actions. So how can I take accountability for that which hasn't been shown?
Mm-hmm.
What I do know is this. I have counsel in this case. People thought I would represent myself because I guess they're retarded. I have counsel in this case. He seems like a good dude, a competent dude, and we will be going through this and doing what needs to be done.
Dude, there's no confidence when he says that. My lawyer's a good dude. No, man. Not a good. You want an Alan Dershowitz. You want a guy that you would not want to hang out with or have a beer with, but that is cutthroat. Okay, a guy who has no moral scruples, that will say it was snowing and so the daughter had cocaine that was actually a snowflake. Somebody who's actually like really morally untethered. But yeah, so I mean, his lawyer must suck.
I see a lot of speculation on the internet, and I can see basically all of it has many of the major details wrong, and that's fine. Most of the details aren't for anybody. And that covers a whole lot more than the criminal case, just my life. My life story is becoming marvelously interesting, even though it's painful and really fucking annoying a lot of the time. The government will be dealt with.
Holy shit.
As I guess time permits, allows. I'm not even sure how to say it. As the time becomes appropriate, government will be dealt with in course. These charges will be dealt with in course. I know what many of you are saying about these types of charges and the allegations against me. And you know what? Say what you will. Watch. You get to watch it live. You get to see what it does with me, to me. You get to see the outcome as it happens. It's pretty fucking rare. Should be a good show for you guys. For me, it'll be one of the most stressful and horrifying times of my entire life. As I've always said, being under indictment by the government is one of the worst positions people can be in. But I'll deal.
Felt it. Okay. Wait.
Because unlike groveling, sniveling commentators online who've never had to deal with any actual adversity in their lives.
That's ironic, given that the guy, again, had a trust fund, had a pretty easy life from what I can tell. He's saying y'all have never faced adversity, which is ridiculous. And I guess, and also his adversity, by the way, is his own fucking fault. So
that's what you do. That's not what a man does. That's not what a woman does. It's not about masculinity or femininity or anything. That's about what people have to do. There are times in your life where you are faced with something that you never could have imagined, that you never could predict, that you will not be prepared for. And again, I feel like a broken ass record because I've said all of this in the context of other people. When you are under the thumb of government, you are not prepared for it. No matter what you think you are not prepared for it. They will go after you in ways that you do not expect. They will come at you with information and you won't know if it's true. And you won't be able to adequately challenge it right away.
How the fuck would you not know that?
And that process in and of itself is designed to grind you into dirt. It's designed to make you capitulate to government. Because they'll say, we have this and this and this. And you'll say, fuck you, show me. And when you do, take a moment. When you do take a moment and you work with government, and you can find this in the recently leaked documents, and you cooperate.
So again, he's actually confirming the validity of the follicle test being legit of his 9-year-old daughter testing positive for cocaine. Crazy stuff. And by the way, insofar as he's talking about how, you don't know what they have on you. Yeah, you actually can tell, I think, for a lot of things. For instance, when we're talking about the prosecution, there's the lawyer, your defense attorney, he claims he has one, ought to have filed a motion of, I don't know if it's called discovery, but basically you file a motion with the court asking for the prosecution to give you what they have on you, which they have to give to you in an orderly fashion. That being police reports, that being body cam footage, etc. That sort of thing is in your possession, Nick, or at least your lawyer's seen it, and maybe you're too drunk to actually go through it. But the point is that is actually a legitimate thing. And if he had a lawyer worth of salt, he would have filed that motion fucking yesterday. And so the point being is that he does know what evidence they have against him. I don't know what the fuck else he could be talking about. I mean, the evidence they would have is testimony from other people, which Nick should know about because he committed the things that they probably accuse him of, I think. And insofar as the drugs, I mean, you fucking know where the drugs are. And again, body cam and police reports are available to you if you have that motion. So
by, say, asking them to come into your home, they will lie under oath to the judge.
North28 North2828 says, so glad you're covering this, Lalo. Such hot takes. Glad you took 2 days before covering the content. This is the microwave Rekieta content, okay? Always on the bleeding edge of the community news. You know it, baby. You know, if you woke up from a coma somehow, then you're going to be like, oh my God, think about that.
That's right, Alicia Sweep. They will lie under oath to the judge. They will fabricate a situation that did not occur. They will lie about your willingness to cooperate. They will lie about things that you said. They will generate statements said by other people out of nothing because I was there and that wasn't said.
Again, this is super stupid for him legally because if there's body cam footage where you're talking to people at the house and you're claiming that they didn't say X and Y, then when the body cams do come out and it's reviewed in court, you're going to be fucked if they did say those things and you're claiming they're lies here. Maybe you won't get hit with perjury, but it will make you look bad if you go to jury trial over this shit. And I get that the judge probably won't go so lenient too. But anyway, the 9-year-old stuff came out recently. No, it didn't. It came out 2 days ago. Tony the Tiger says, the more he talks, the more I'm convinced that more charges are coming and that they will seek jail time for each one of the existing charges and get it. I would say that they're probably going to give Nick a couple years. Yeah. And I think he's going to lose custody of his kids. And he's probably going to have to sober cuck for a while. It's about 10 days old, but that's okay. No, it isn't.
They will violate the rules of evidence. They will violate the rules of civil procedure. They will violate the rules of juvenile procedure. And disinterested judges and very fucking terrible attorneys will let it all go. Because everyone grovels at the feet of government.
Okay, cool. Okay, cope.
If you're ever in a situation like mine, and I pray that you're not, do not allow anyone to convince you that you should grovel before government or just accept an outcome. Don't do it. Government's system of punishment is designed.
NY says his arraignment was 10 days ago. No. Okay, you're missing the point. That was May 26th or whatever. The arraignment in and of itself wasn't consequential, obviously, because arraignments are boring. The arraignment basically boils down to guilty, not guilty. Okay, there you go. That's it. It's not that complicated. Arraignment, it's a really big word for such a basic shit thing. But anyway, it's not a big deal. In fact, if you look at motions by lawyers for arraignments for cases, it's oftentimes like literally like half a paragraph of like technicalities of like, okay, XY defendant in the case of state versus whatever has to do this and then not guilty. So insofar as it comes with the, what else? Jadeite says, Nick Rekieta looks like my brother. I'm going to ban you from chat. What the fuck? Really? Nick Rekieta looks like me? How? I'm felted. What the fuck? I'm going to quit the stream. What the? Are you kidding me? Nick Rekieta looks like my brother? Are you fucking high? Are you high? How? I look nothing like Nick Rekieta at all. What the hell? His house is trash. His kids were skinny and positive for cocaine. He wasn't keeping up with the responsibilities. He had every advantage and he squandered it. That's mostly true. Okay. If the feds come after him on the gun charge, he's be looking at 5 years, but I think it's a state issue completely. There's definitely going to be more coming out. Hopefully the body cam footage gets released. Yeah, it should soon. He's digging his own grave. We watch and we went. Okay.
To fuck you. And it does it mercilessly, relentlessly, unapologetically, and it doesn't even call you good girl and spit in your mouth. It just does it. And when you're tired and bleeding on the bed, it does it again and again and again. You can't roll over until you're sore enough. And that's what they want you to do, is roll over. Don't. Fight for your rights. You have them. They exist for a reason, including your right to free speech.
Cope.
And I will sit here and I will fight for every one of those commentators' rights to be a giant coward in the face of someone else's plight. And it's amazing to watch these people that I thought were courageous quiver in fear, performatively, just to beg you for one more $20 donation, please. It's embarrassing.
Uh-oh.
With that, as stated, I will not be talking about my case. I will be resuming content focused on the same things we always focus on.
Okay, to be honest, he spent about 20 minutes talking about something that should have taken him 40 seconds. And he confessed to a lot of shit that he didn't need to, like insofar as the validity of that whole positive cocaine test. And now he's claiming that the police report has like false statements of people, so that's not gonna go well for him. And so that's probably really bad.
Content will be absent any alcohol or anything else.
Okay, he's clearly on something, and so for him to say there's gonna be no alcohol or whatever is just stupid. Why even clarify that? Don't even talk about alcohol if you're gonna do it. And by the way, I don't think he's drank anything in the past 20 minutes, and he's still kind of lit. So think about that. That's what, like 10 vodka shots or some shit of like being, toasted.
That content will be jovial and lighthearted most of the time, except maybe if I'm in a bad mood. Because guess what, guys? You've always gotten me, not a performative thing, not some mask, not some persona. You get me wherever I am. And sometimes I know over the past couple of years, you've gotten a dark version. You've gotten me on a really shitty fucking day. But hey, everybody has some shitty days. You've got me on some really fucking good ones too. Hope to have many more of those with you. That being said, I am going to switch over. We're going to read all the super chats that we've got. I'm not going to answer too many questions that involve anything even close to my case. Obviously, I think you guys can understand that. Again, what's so shocking to me are all the lawyers who suddenly forgot that you can't talk about a fucking criminal case. They'll tell you, they'll say it. They'll say it on Twitter and stuff. They'll be like, oh, Nick shouldn't be talking. When I tell a joke about cops talking about my house, like, and label this clearly a joke. They're like, oh my God, Nick shouldn't say that. Ugh. And then they'll come out and they'll be like, Nick needs to apologize for everything he's accused of. And I'm like, accused of is the word here. Accused of. Let's let the government fucking prove anything first.
Oh my fucking God. I'm overdosing on the cringe, bro. This is so bad. Look, just because you're not proven guilty doesn't mean you didn't fucking do it, obviously. You could have like video evidence of you killing someone and you're technically not guilty until you're guilty. So like, even though you literally did it on video, you still have to go through the formality. And so this guy's like saying, well, the formality hasn't happened yet. Okay, bitch. God damn.
Treat you like a stalker. And I am dead fucking serious about that. Here we go. Jim tells you, what's up, Jim? Welcome back. Please support Comicsgate creator Scott McCullough's new Mech Warrior campaign, Land and See Paradise. Nappy Soldier, Neuro Funk, drum and bass music producer says, this, your Las Vegas DJ, and still down for my boy to DJ the next one. Chin up, my broski. Much love. Hey, man, thank you. I'll hit you up on that. Darth Bender says, welcome back, Nick. Seize the day. Says, ban trolls. Free chat of Toxic here.
Okay, this was thus, I haven't seen this, so I didn't know how long this was going to go for. But so let's see, 28 minutes in, he's getting into the super chats. He explicitly said he's not going to talk about anything about the case. So I'm probably going to let this play for a couple minutes just to see if anything interesting happens. If not, then we're going to wrap up there. Because we do have some other time constraints anyway. So make sure you get any questions in that you have now, because I might leave soon.
Here for the Pope. Some people are like laughing that I have, or like, I don't even want to say laughing. Like, oh, he has Law Pope as a vanity plate? Yes. It was a funny joke when I got it. And people are like, I don't know about that. It's like, people's memories are like fucking goldfish, and their ability to remember that life is still supposed
says the guy who blacked out every day for like months.
Christopher, thanks for the donation. Joshua Smith Holly says, I love all the people in here mad about Nick enjoying what America has to offer. You all feel betrayed but turn a blind eye to your taxpayer dollars, unaliving people in other countries. Again,
Non sequitur.
Look, I don't know what I did to any particular person out there that's mad. I didn't do anything to you at all. I'm not even accused of doing anything to you.
Fucking,
so go deal with whatever your anger management issues are, however you need to do them. Bad Luck Boy says Aaron is 0 and 2.
Anger management issues. Meanwhile, he literally said, if you don't believe me, fuck you. He literally implied that you ought to go Robin Williams mode. If you disagree.
Ouch. I don't know anything about boxing records. He always claims to be 1-1 though. Something about like they changed the decision later because he was beat up, but he was beat up illegally or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. But that's what he always claimed. You guys have to check that out. I'm not here to comment about Aaron Imholt or anything that he has to say. He gets to say whatever he wants. I hope he makes $1 million. Rosemary J, welcome to Paralegal Status. Same with Brandon Lesko. The Spooky Ghost says, stop neglecting your stream. We're not your kids. I don't.
Oh, he got felted.
I don't neglect either of you. Angel Australia says, good to see you back, Nick. Peace, homo. Corrections 101 says, looking and sounding great, Nicky. Keep it up. Thank you. Ugly Dan says, can you say yayo? I've been a fan since like 2021. Get it together, Nick. My karma went to shit on Reddit defending you. Let me address this real quick. This is actually really fucking important. Some people have said to me like, hey, it's hard to defend you or this and this. Defend you. Stop. I never asked anybody to defend me, ever. This goes all the way back to the Vic days when people are like,
Nick Rekieta is telling the Baldo guards, he's talking to the nose guard, he's saying, stand back and stand by the Nick Rekieta, the Requetas. Well, what's his nickname? Rackets?
Nick, I defended you online, and then people started coming after me. I'm like, please don't. Please don't. You guys have read the allegations against me, I assume. You don't need to defend me. Those allegations exist from the government. They've been made. People are not going to accept your defense of me, and they don't have to. Please don't defend me. Do you even see me defending myself? No, I'm defending myself in court. Because again, the shocking number of people asking me to come online and defend my public image must have missed the fucking bus. And it must be a short one, I guess, because you should know that my public image is just who I am. And you should know that there's no fucking way on earth I'm going to capitulate to a government accusation. The government has a burden. They have to meet it. Until they meet it, fuck it. Meet your burden. Then we'll talk. If they do, then we'll deal with that. But right now, they haven't even had to try. So until that's done, I'm not going to sit here and capitulate to anything. But the converse is, that means I don't get to defend myself. Okay. You shouldn't either. Don't put yourself out there on my behalf. I've never asked anybody to do that. I wouldn't ask you to do that. So I know your karma score on Reddit isn't important. Well, maybe
I think I think it's disingenuous for him to say that I don't want you to defend me in the public, because Nick Rekieta will reply to people on Instagram DMs or whatever have you about his case or tertiary details about his life to defend his own honor. So to assume that he doesn't want people licking his nuts on Twitter in public is just asinine. So he's just trying to save face.
Maybe it is really important. But seriously, when you get involved with some of this stuff, with some of the people who are out there, especially some of the people who are out there commenting about me, you open yourself up to personal inspection, ridicule, and possibly more. Don't do that. It's not your cross to bear. I don't want your help defending me in that way at all. If there's something that I need help with, it'll be something that I'm looking for to be given to my lawyer to use in court. And I would ask that very specifically. I'm not asking for anything like that right now. Because right now, it's all on government to prove anything. Right now, I stand accused. Until a different outcome occurs, I do not stand convicted. And I hope to never stand convicted of anything. Well, except for maybe a few thousand speeding tickets. Joseph Fazio says, return to the king of late night. Lady Law Sandra says, we love you. Sandra, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Quiet Rider says, it's a great way to get back to practicing law, right, Raggeds? God, no. Lady Law Sandra says, you made LawTube. The worst thing. Don't put that on my tombstone, please. Wick Dipper says, kicking Cherko to the curb really started a shitstorm. That it did. Seedfan85 says, I see the fascist haircut has returned. Is there a story behind it this time? Look, it's summer. In summer, I have my dude bring it down way, way low because I have a heat allergy. Something I've openly talked about forever. I have a heat allergy. I get hives when I get warm. I scratch them. Sometimes they bleed.
Okay, you see what he was trying to do there? He's being slick. Apparently, he had scratch marks when he got arrested initially, and people were positing that he was injecting drugs into himself, therefore he had cuts or some shit like that. Now, again, I don't really know how that works, but then he's implying that he has a heat allergy, which, again, seems like the most, sheltered, white, trust fund kid bullshit. Like, I have a heat, I get hives when I get hot. Again, that seems like your genetics suck then. If you're literally, let's say it's 90 degrees out and the sun's blazing, and you're like, oh my God, I'm breaking out in hives, you're a bitch. Bitch made, horrible. You're not even that pale to be that close to death. I mean, you might as well be a fucking albino, right? Anyway, during the whole stream, Nick never quoted one legal case or law in his defense. Well, yeah, I know. Loana says, who cares about his license? He's not even going to be practicing, so who's going to want to hire him anyway? Well, I think it's because he still wants to have the grift of I'm a lawyer on YouTube. And if he loses his legal license, it gets found guilty of a felony conviction over this sort of shit, then clearly what respect is he going to have going forward? He was already falling off prior to the arrest anyway. Melissa Doe says, lol. Melissa D. We have 24 people watching. We have 17 likes. Let's get that up to 24. Tony the Tiger says, rich people fare worse than poor folk when they get hammered. I fear Nick might not even make it to prison or even trial. I don't know about that.
Corrections 101 says, praying for you and your family, Nikki. Thank you. Stay strong, brother. You look and sound great. Appreciate that. Anime Sucks. Cope and Sneed says, hey, Nick. So I wasn't kidding when I asked if you could show this on stream and critique it. Files.catbox.mo. No, sorry, I'm not doing anything like that today. Mario Carter 13. I don't know what you said. Ugly Dan, because it was moderated out, I guess. Ugly Dan says, on behalf of a community, you're not funny anymore. Cool. Good. I didn't claim to be funny. I mean, except to me. I laugh at my jokes, but sometimes I laugh at things that aren't funny. Seize the Day sent a bunch of hearts. Beautifully said. FM. IDK anymore says at least PPP doesn't have kids with coke on them. If PPP has kids, he's probably about to eat them. Four Loop Media says, why aren't you grifting off your big return?
That was a shitty comeback. So again, PPP, because they'll say, you know, you're fat and childless, incel, whatever, and then Nick Rekieta says, or the chatter actually said, oh well, at least he doesn't have kids with coke on their hair, and then he says, well, at least, well, I mean, PPP would eat his kids. Just lame ass joke.
I don't know what you want me to do to grift off of it, but I think I'm going to do okay. I do my thing. There's often not enough planning. You got
okay. Tony the Tiger says, let's say, it's been said that Nick hits himself and tears his hair out and screams like a child when he's mad. That's believable. I mean, it looks like he tears his fucking hair out. I mean, he's balding for sure. Shit's thinning. That being said, of course, insofar as him, you know, hitting his own head when he's mad, I assume if you're on drugs, you're more likely to do stupid shit, and people in general tend to hit their head on the wall when they're mad. A lot of dumb people do. Okay. NY says he wasn't injecting. He wasn't that bad off. There isn't any evidence of opiates or methamphetamine, but in different circles, Nick has said it to multiple people. He thinks addiction is a weakness, and that smart people like him can control the drug use. Yes. That being said, he did have like marks on his arm from what I heard, and so I don't know what that could be.
Melted says, here's to your legal fund, hoping you get the full 25 years, you piece of shit. Casino always wins. Well, I got news for you. If you read the sentencing guidelines, it's very unlikely. Ty Beard says, you, sir, are a steel
Okay, well, he's calling the bluff of the court.
eyed missile man. I'm proud to call you my friend. Hey, thanks, Ty. How you doing, buddy? Eric from Wisconsin says, love you, bro. Focus on you and yours. Forget everyone else. All that matters is family and defeating government. Love from Wisconsin. Thank you. Bernie Garcon, message was deleted. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know what it was, but if you sent some message that involved personal information, I don't care. And trying to cause you and the people that you love serious amounts of pain. That's not most people on the internet. Most people on the internet just laugh at the ongoing dumpster fire that is all over and circling around them. But there are some sad, pathetic people who can't realize their own inadequacy. And when that inadequacy manifests and their life suffers consequences because their inability to be introspective, their unwillingness to self-examine or accept criticism or even self-critique, they rewrite their own history. They make up stories. They come up with a timeline and a set of facts that doesn't exist to justify their own failures. No matter how many times those failures were pointed out to them in friendly ways, they just can't do it. Someone else did it to them because it certainly couldn't be their own fault. And those are the people who foist themselves up as some sort of paragon while openly trying to damage and destroy lives of innocents. And those people will probably have to deal with the consequences of their actions at some point. But I don't know.
So he's implying that according to the sentencing guidelines that he's going to be fine and not go to prison for the shit that he's accused of, and that in fact it's the people that are making fun of him right now maliciously, that the trolls are going to get their comeuppance and that they're going to have karma. Again, the cope is insane. Leona says his ego is going to be the downfall. He is so angry. Yeah, obviously. Crank bugs cause the marks. They are from the same species of animal that the ceiling cats come from. Okay, now that's actually pretty funny. So he's projecting, says Luana. Okay. Melissa says, you can't do this stuff when you have kids, period. Exactly. 25 people watching. Let's get the likes up to 25. I see 18 right now.
No, I'm not God. I just think I am. That's
not funny.
Smokin says, I'm an addict. Once an addict, always an addict. Love you, brother. Believe in you. Fuck government. I'm sorry to hear that for you, man. Look, I've seen people deal with addiction. It's really fucking nasty. Really fucking nasty. And I commend you on your journey. IDK anymore?
Again, for him to just... Either he literally doesn't think he's addicted, which is fucking ridiculous, or he's just trying to save face and not, you know, cop a plea or say like, oh, I am addicted to coke or whatever. I understand that, but still, come on, that's such a bad look. I wouldn't have even read that.
Sorry, I don't know what you said. Pendar, welcome to Paralegal. William Trainer, sorry, I don't know what you said. Doc Nick says, good luck with things. Nick, looking good, thank you. Jeff Bruno says, the worst part is the hypocrisy. It's a good Norm Macdonald joke. Well, actually, I thought the worst part was the rape. Matthew Self says, not that I hate what you were saying, but are you reading from the screen? No, I could show you here. You want to see what I look at, guys? Here's what I look at.
The ceiling cats.
This is a screen that I'm looking at 90% of the time. This is what I see. I usually have locals up, but right now it's not on this window. So if you want to see what I'm looking at, I'm not.
It's pretty Dalasto if he's using fucking StreamYards, given how much he streams. You ought to be using OBS like me. But anyway, NY says, try to do a split screen Lalo of his arraignment after the night of sleep and sobering up and look how much better he looks compared to here. I might. If he doesn't go to rehab, he will certainly go to prison for the drug charges and then testing in halfway house. Yeah, maybe.
Reading from the screen, I'm watching all the shit going on. I'm trying to read chats at various points. But that's that. Stinky Stink says, please keep streaming. Turkey Tom needs footage. Yeah, again, I don't think I've met Turkey Tom. I know he's met Dick Masterson or something. And cheers, I guess. Christine Hansopoulos says, I care about you and Kayla and wish you the best. Hey, thank you, Christine. Very much appreciate that. BTM Reviews, a huge super chat. Really appreciate it. It says, your friends are some of the worst people I used to think were smarter than me. Guess I was wrong because I never determined your guilt until I hear all sides of the court. Love you and Lady Racket since Nashville. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Isn't that amazing? Chartard says, is April still giving that Hoover Deluxe treatment? That month is long gone. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Schwamp Donkey, message deleted. Johnny Rocket says, potentially criminal tested positive for jelly donuts and cum. That was rude. That was not very uncouth of you. Buckmaster says,
So look at his retort. He's saying that, oh, one guy who is calling me a coke addict child neglector, actually, he tested positive for jelly donuts because he's fat. Okay, so that's one defense. His other defense is that PPP says that my little daughter has coke in her hair, but he's fat and he would probably eat his kids. That's his defenses thus far.
if Harambe was here, he would be disappointed. Well, he's not. He's dead. Dark Luce G. Whatever the truth of your case, you're correct that we should remember to be wary of government motives regardless of the case. Often we don't. Chininator says, personally, I like your trial streams more than these late night streams. Well, that was part of the announcement, but that'll have to wait a little bit because I'm a bit incensed tonight. Pendar says, innocent until proven guilty, Pandrew. Charlie Shee says, been there with the law, not fun. I sympathize with your current plight in life. Best wishes, Nick. Thank you. Smokin says, I believe in you. Angel Australia says, respect, Nick. Wishing all the best for you and your family. Fook the retards. Let them tard alone. May you tard in solitude. Caesar Day says, love the studio. Yeah, Depp is prominent. Freedom. Matt says, my options aside, I hope you the best, Nick. Hey, thank you. MLS God of Law says, wishing all the best for you and your family. Thank you. Show Live says, weird that none of your fellow lawyers I follow on YouTube are saying the things you're accusing. Thanks, pal. I don't know which Denny's joke. Ethan, I think I made a couple different ones. All of them are like Ulysses by James Joyce.
Huh?
You can hear the jokes over and over and you'll never understand them.
What? What?
But you can analyze them forever.
What?
Your humanity, and despite entertaining thousands online, you cared for them. Never stopped. Not for a second. Ugly Dan says, block, reset, don't answer. This is not Nick. Laserpan says, put the glass down, put the pie in your mouth. Sweet tea.
Sus. Sweet tea, by the way. Sweet tea. It's not an IPA, guys. It's a fucking sweet tea.
I'm sure someone will say it contains probably fentanyl. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just drinking fentanyl. Oh no, I'm George Floyd.
I'm out. I'm leaving. Yeah, good night, guys. Are you kidding me? George Floyd joke, what, 3-4 years later?
Derek, I need a knee. Guess I'll live through the fentanyl then. James Stewart says, unbreaded Nick.
This guy's so painfully unfunny, it's not even, like, noteworthy. His comedy is shit. And again, he's just smarter than average person. So the smarter you are, the easier it is to be funny because the comedic timing is easier. You're wittier. You have a quicker reaction time to basically external stimuli. But the guy is like over here slow as shit. And he's toasted already somehow.
Arc is yet to come. Phil the Stampede says, how funny was it that you and DSP did the same thing? Man, I wish I would have jerked off on stream. That would have been way funnier than what I was doing. Stream Hero 77 says, let's see the body cam footage before we believe you. You may get to. I don't know.
So you know the body cam footage is bad for Nick Rekieta when he could just consent to that being public and he's not, as far as I know. And so it's got to be bad. And that's not surprising.
YHVH Lord says, forget government. What about obeying God and his righteousness judgment in order to avoid eternal hellfire? Government is nothing. Jesus is everything. There you have it, folks. Don't worry about government. Make sure you're not going to have eternal hellfire. Government's nothing. Jesus is everything. Ignore the fact that Jesus said you don't have to worry about eternal hellfire because I kind of came around. I mean, you guys killed me, but I forgive you or whatever. Like, ignore that. Just go with this new weird Americanized, like not Americanized, but modern Americanized Christianity where like Jesus doesn't matter. This one that everyone wants you to believe now. It's really fucking strange, guys. I don't know what the hell people are talking about. Matt Skinner says, do you sell your art? That's not my...
That's so odd. So what was his point even?
That's not my art. No, I'm not talented at all. I sell my art to you like this. This is my art, so it's very inexpensive.
Bruh.
Although I did get some painting stuff because I'm going to try doing some painting sometime soon. And then maybe I'll sell it. I don't know. Ricky Ray Rosenberg Esquire. Message was deleted. Sorry. Dark Luce G says, either way this goes, write a book and grift. Maybe. It's a good story, man. It's a really good story. And other people really want me to tell it. Lost Zephyr. Message deleted. Last of Yahoos. Says, oi there, chief. I've been missing my work night content. Now entertain me. Welcome back. Thank you. Fugaboogoob Fugub Bugub. I don't know. Tough situation, but wishing you and yours the best. Stick to it, man. Stick it to the man and keep your chin up. Thank you. I will try. Bastard. Deleted message. Rob Price is glad to see you back. Fuck all at all. You're a lolcow. Okay. Cool. Great. I'm gonna just keep doing my show over here. I'll just do that then.
That's not fixing anything, but even beyond that, every other message he's getting has been blocked by a moderator. Have you noticed? The super chats are pretty hostile.
Bro Fister, message deleted. Andrea Murray says, I found you 2020 to 2022. 11 years clean for me recently. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing exceedingly well. Sleepless, well, under the circumstances. Because believe me, there are other options for what you want to do under these circumstances, and those options are not doing well.
NY says his medical assessment here, this isn't Coke or even alcohol. He's got a prescription for Adderall or Vyvanse and took a lot of it. I don't believe that. No, that's not Adderall. Are you kidding me? No, it's not fucking Adderall. No, have you tried it? I don't think it works that way. Of course not. No, it doesn't. No, this guy's less sharp than he would be theoretically sober as of, let's say, 5 years ago when he wasn't drinking every day. Him sober is sharper than him on Adderall. When you're on Adderall, you are sharper than when you're sober, obviously, because your dopamine receptors are manipulated in such a way to where you're in a more even keel state for focus and whatever else. And so, no.
They involve like buildings and falling off of them.
I'm telling you right now, if I were maybe like 10 beers in, I'd be where Nick's at, like smart wise, like insofar as he's like kind of slow to everything and his jokes aren't landing because he is too kind of like out of it.
Sleepless in Minnesota says, Nick stumbled across a sweet video of you and Lady Raggers from 4 years ago, hoping you can return your family to those happier times. Hey, I'm always looking to have my family in happy times.
You're saying Adderall at low doses helps you focus, but at high doses doesn't? Then why the fuck is he taking high doses then? What do you mean? I don't get it.
Carrie says, Nick, there's some people here who actually give a fuck about you. Oh, I know. You and your family and our rights. Wishing you all the best, my guy. Much love. Yes. And to you people who do care about all those things, yeah, keep doing so. That's what we need. We need people who remember that stuff. Red Fox Mad says, Nick, you should join the Knights of Columbus. Why? There's a joke in there I'm missing. Joe Moses, welcome Paralegal. Thank you. Comicsgate Live, message deleted. Card Shark message deleted. Bad Luck Boy says, Johnny Crutches owes Mersha. Thank you for his raise. Did he actually get it? I don't know. He's my clipper. Yeah, Riley's got, dude, it sucks. It sucks bad.
Look how discolored his nails are, by the way. I don't know if this is like, I don't think that's normal, by the way. I mean, my nails aren't great, obviously. I mean, you can see these. Oh, okay, now you can't. I guess you can't, but they look like this. His nails are fucked, though. I mean, just look at that shit. Look how pale they are.
It fucking really sucks. Carson Depp says, are you cool with mods censoring super chats? It really depends on what's in there. I don't know. Right now, I'm trusting my mods to protect private information, and I'm not able to follow along and watch what's being deleted, and I'm not going to fucking fret over it right now. If something was innocent that you sent and it got deleted, I'm sorry. I guess I wish I could. Wish I had the time and bandwidth to monitor all of that, but I don't. Not tonight. I come buckets. Potentially criminal, has diabetes. Rip legs. Hope not.
And why saying that at high doses, the Adderall or I guess deoxin causes the cranky, agitated, all over the place state in quotes. I mean, again, I don't know. I honestly don't know. How much would you say? Because the typical dosage for Adderall goes about 20 milligrams per day. And so how much would you postulate that he's on? And I'm assuming that he just started the prescription, if that's what you're implying, that if he's off the booze and whatnot, that it's just Adderall, then he must have started it pretty recently. And so his tolerance ought to be really low, in which case, what kind of dose are you thinking about here? A lot? Well, what the fuck is a lot? Again, normal is like 20. They start you at like 10. High would be like 30, 40. But again, some people do like 90 a day, I guess. So what do you think, like 200?
You don't have to deal with that shit. Revy Rogue says, burn the Sonichu medallion.
And also, how the hell would he get Adderall legally at such a high dosage if he just started the prescription? It doesn't make sense. You got to wait at least like a week before they scale up your dosage, or maybe a month. And then you got to do like in Arizona, when you do any sort of prescriptions, I'm pretty sure the healthcare policy works that you need to do a telehealth every month to make sure that you're actually like not selling the shit and you're not like strung out all the time. You get 30, says Melissa. We'll see, that seems typical. But Nick Rekieta, if he just started Adderall, probably has to start at maybe 20 at most. And I go to college. Plenty of people I know, acquaintances, do Adderall. There's no way they act like this.
Oh, it will find its proper place. Luna Monet says, love to see you back on, Nick. Keep on trucking. Normie message deleted. BP, bro, glad you're back. Newsflash, you have snakes in your front and backyard. YouTube lawyers are slime balls, but you are one of the good ones. Well, thank you. Thanks. Art the Clown says, please make me a mod. I'll never use it. I just don't want to get blocked by EVS. GZF, regardless of the outcome, seeing what...
NY says, Lalo, you're so innocent. There are many telehealth ways to get it. I just don't know if you could. Telehealth, I think that still requires your ID or like, so how easy would it be for the prosecutor? I mean, I don't know. Okay, I don't know how that works. I'm just not even going to argue it. But Loana says he has not said why the government is targeting him. He really isn't that important in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, of course. Let's get the likes up, chat.
What other people go through has made me self-reflect on my own shortcomings and things I need to clean. Nicholas Oreo, message deleted. Hey, to Oreo, if you want me to if you want to ask something, just send me a DM, man. Like, I usually answer them. Stinkmeister says, with everything going on, do you know when we can expect the 5K locals gift? Is it still a figure? Thanks. I don't know what a figure. It's about my own situation because, hey, I wasn't there for some of it. So I'm learning shit about my own situation. I'm learning shit about my life. Who has the complete story? That's what all of this shit is for, finding the story. Right now, people have one side because one side gets to tell a story. They get to craft a narrative. And the other side,
that's bullshit. That is such a disingenuous way to spin it. Of course, whatever you say on your end is going to be used against you. But again, whatever the prosecutor says can be used against them, dipshit. Like if they just make up something entirely and you can disprove it in court, that would help the defense. So anything they do is also under a fine-tooth comb to some extent. And so just say like, oh, I can't speak, but they can. Yeah, because it's a turn-based game. Theoretically, it's to say they put in the evidence, the defense gets to pick it apart, and then they find holes in it therein, and then kind of like prove your innocence on that basis. Your dumbass is like, well, I don't get to talk at the same time without liability. Okay, so what? That doesn't matter.
Anything they say about that narrative,
that's the way it should work.
To put them in prison forever. So one side gets to say whatever they want, and they can lie, they can fabricate details.
They can't. They literally can't, though. What do you mean? What? Fabricate what? What?
They can screw up, and guess how often they get punished? Almost never. They almost never get punished because it doesn't behoove government to punish itself. It just doesn't. People always ask during trials, well, they lied on the stand. Or perjury. Well, the prosecutor liked the lie. So why would they press perjury charges? Why would they even ask the question? They don't. They get caught sometimes and they kind of have to. But the government gets to craft a narrative. The other parties, everybody else involved, they don't. Because
look, I could give them the benefit of the doubt. It's the issue being, of course, that it's a little more complicated. Like, for example, there is no grand conspiracy against the guy. He was well respected in the community up until a certain point, and so they don't really have a motive to fuck him over, to be honest. And so I'm not going to give him any benefit of the doubt on that basis. And then the second part to that, an addendum really, is that if you were so confident about how innocent he is, then how about you consent to have everything released to the public, whether that be the police report, whether that be the hair follicle test, and really concretely say these are real, and then also say like, okay, well, the body cams exonerate me of X and Y. He won't, because he knows something really bad is in there and he doesn't want it out.
They're under a fucking gun. There's a gun pointed in my mouth by government right now. Because every law, every single one ends with a bullet at some point. And so no matter what, if I say something to try and craft my own narrative, even if I try and counter a blatant falsehood, I risk putting myself in front of that bullet. Everybody watching, all they can do is judge based on the information they have access to. And believe me, I would love to give you access to all kinds of information, but I can't. I can't do it because it will be misinterpreted. It will be intentionally used only negatively. It will be decontextualized and abused because that's what the system does.
This guy's such a fucking idiot. Whatever the prosecutor or whatever the reports are that people have online to any degree have the most slanted against Rekieta perspective as possible. The body cam, if anything, would kind of muddy the waters in a way that would actually benefit Rekieta. If you have a septic tank pouring fucking orange juice while you wouldn't want to swim in it, it's still better than shit itself. And so like if you put out the body cam footage and you consent to it, that might actually make people sympathetic to say like, wow, the police were really assholes in this case. But he won't, because it makes him look even worse somehow. I don't know how the fuck that even happens, but it's true.
And I'm probably going to release a short video on why that's actually just how the system is supposed to work. We always kind of frame it as evil, and it is in a way very evil especially when you're against it. But it makes logical sense. And we try and counter the necessity of that setup when it comes to government by increasing the standard to beyond a reasonable doubt, right? To having a constitution with rights that are supposed to be there. Those are things we try to do to mitigate the disparity in power, but still treat the two parties as adverse parties. The government is adverse to me in this case. Now, in a civil case, the two parties...
I'm going to take a 90-second bathroom break. I got to go pee real quick, but it's not going to be a Rekieta break where I take 10 minutes to bust a couple lines, okay? We don't have that at this house. We have Diet Coke. No, not real Coke. But yeah, I'll be back in like less than 2 minutes, okay?
Craft their own narrative about what happened, and someone finds the facts somewhere between.
Oh shit, wait.
Right?
Whoops.
But those cases are resolved on a different standard of evidence, typically preponderance of the evidence, 51% more likely to be correct wins. We try and counter that with government by holding them to this much higher standard of beyond a reasonable doubt. But it's still the same setup. It's two adverse parties telling a story about the other one. Well, really, government telling a story about you, and that story has to be bad enough for you to have to mitigate it. That's the system. And it feels really fucking evil because they do get to lie or misrepresent things or overblow things or cause something and then blame you for it. They get to do all those things and you don't get to say anything back. Because if you do, you can have someone kick down your door and put a gun in your mouth. And believe me, I live in a small town, but they're happy to bust down a door and draw guns. Because at the end of the day, they're cowards too. Honestly Reckless says, welcome back, Nick. Hey, thanks. You ever notice how the guys who thought the government was putting stuff in the vax and not to trust them believe everything written in a police report? Kind of saw it. You're the man, Nick. By the way, Mindset blocked me within 24 hours. What a bitch. Chili Cheese Chase says, permanently online tards and no families have nothing better to do than grift off of you. Dig the new studio setup and how much for that NES power pad? It's not for sale, my friend. Obi-Wan Kenobi says, hope all the best for you and your family. Thank you. Kyler says, happy Pride Month, fudge packer. Thank you. Schrodinger's Denny's order says, I need to catch up on your Warhammer talking streams. Real quick, though, what brought you into the services of Slanesh and why are they the best god? Look, I hate Slanesh because noise marines look fucking stupid. But anybody who plays a boombox loud enough to make someone's skin fall off while they're orgasming is pretty fucking cool. Quaz12345 says, great to have you back. F the government. Hey, thank you. Very large super chat. Really appreciate that. Voyager8294 says, you're not the only artist the government went after. Love you, Nick. Hey, thank you. Ryan Tyler Palmer says, good to see you back. Great insight. I guess they are saying that spoiler for your sex limo is also a wormhole for the snow rocket. Hail, Nick. Spoiler for my sex limo. Do I have a sex limo now? Damn it. The Moldy Crow. Message deleted. Sean says, forget Teflon Don. How about nonstick Nick? Cedar Rose says, wishing you and your family well. Take care. Thank you. And always keep that elbow on point. Matt Skinner says, hang in there, brother. God bless you and yours. Good logic sent us. Oh, thank you. Phineas Kingslayer. Message deleted. Lefty Lull says, praying for you, my friend. Carly Shee says, it's Moons Over My Hammy, Nick. It's on the menu at Denny's. Moons Over My Hammy is Drex's brother's favorite order, so I never acknowledge its existence.
All
really,
right.
really disgusting of him to eat that. Where the fuck? God damn it. Okay, so this thing jumped down again. We're getting there. Baked Turkey says, hey, heard what happened. Haven't been around since the Kick Vic era. I really hope all the allegations against you are false, considering how fucked up our government is. Wish you the best. Well, we'll be dealing with those allegations in court. Me04120 says, put the Sonichu medallion on. Embrace it. Random commenter, the return of the Law King. One truth about the government is that the only solution to corruption is a French haircut. Six Hipper Tyrannus, best wishes. Yes, a French haircut. Given to be by a
No white on my nose. There you go.
Again. And it is very gay. Caesar Day says, mod since they're stupids, simple. Oh shit, biggest problem in the universe. What's up, man? How many push-ups do you think Null can do, and is it zero? No, why is it zero? That's the real question. Why after all this time can he still not do one? That's the real issue there. Hey, how many push-ups average can you two do, though? It sucks when your fat partner has a negative number, doesn't it, asshole?
He's not sober. Who could even laugh at that? That was not even approaching comedy. That was so bad.
Senor Spielbergo says, can you or your lawyer push for live feed of your trial to be allowed if it comes to that? That's not up to either of us. Silence Dugan says, allegedly,
are you sure?
some guy named Pot Awful is interviewing your daughter about her drug use right now. I'm sure he is. Nicola Maxwell says, prayers to you and yours, Rackets. Much love. Thank you. Goystein McShuckleberg says, will the Aryans let you join with that nose? No, but thank God. There's a new rule coming out that says perceived Semitic heritage is sufficient for me to file anti-racism charges against you and all your hate speeches. So even though I'm not Jewish, I get to be Jewish when people make fun of my nose. And you're all sued. You're all sued forever. Malensi says, make sure your lawyer doesn't have a 6-inch HDMI cord. Well, he doesn't have a 6-inch HDMI cord. Oh, God damn it. I forgot to, I left the stream.
The fuck is the reference?
Open. Well, that's fine. They get to just sit here. He doesn't have a 6-inch HDMI cord. He's black, so he has at least a 9-inch one.
Oh my God. No way he just said that. Come on.
Speeches. So even though I'm not Jewish, I get to be Jewish when people make fun of my nose. And you're all sued. You're all sued forever. Malensi says, make sure your lawyer doesn't have a 6-inch HDMI cord. Well, he doesn't have a 6-inch HDMI cord. Oh, God damn it. I forgot to, I left the StreamYard thing open. Well, that's fine. They get to just sit here. He doesn't have a 6-inch HDMI cord. He's black, so he has at least a 9-inch one.
So imagine you're a 40-year-old man and you're saying my lawyer has so he's talking about his lawyer's dick size. This is a grown man, by the way. What the fuck?
You always forget someone, and it's hard to remember, but the majority of people have been bros who've reached out. Swedish Asylum Seeker says, lol, Cal Mount Rushmore, DSP, Wings, Jack Murphy, and me. Look, only if I get Lincoln's spot. Omega.
Who's Lincoln? Oh, okay, President Lincoln. Again, he's supposed to be witty. You're supposed to be a lawyer, high IQ, come up with something smart to retort. Instead, you say, "Yeah, I will be on the lolcow mountain with DSP, and I heard, I think, what fucking wings." Oh well, I'll be in the Lincoln spot. That's not cool. That's not funny. Not even like that's just not even ironically funny either. Uh, okay.
Vegas Supreme with Cheese says libertarian here. Keep your head up, Nick. Nick R versus the people of the state is a terrible position to be in. They can and will lie for a conviction. They can, will, and do. Always. It's part of the system for them to lie. Tracy 3 says, been following since Rittenhouse. You look and sound great. Praying for you and your beautiful family. Thank you very much. Reverton, thoughts on Ray DeVito stabbing KB in the back by performing at Hackmania?
Who?
I don't know who Ray DeVito or KB is. I'm in a very serious situation, so nothing can be funny ever again. But Reketamine's really fucking funny. That was funny. The first time I read it, I was like, God damn it, that's funny.
Huh?
Anyway, Reketamine says, heard you talking about Andrew's.
Reketamine? Okay,
that's funny because our wife looks like a cross-eyed ghoul. Why does your wife look like a cross-eyed ghoul? That's weird. Insurmountable Nitwit says, finger guns akimbo, make them pay. Like Shooter McGavin.
What?
A piece of shit like you for breakfast.
Huh?
Clay Early says, these mods suck. We want Tess back. I don't even know what happened to Tess. I like see a picture of her every now and then.
Look, I'm going to have to work soon, so I'm going to end the stream in about 15 minutes, so I'm going to try to power through the rest of the stream. I think you got most of what's going to happen here anyway. I mean, he's reading super chats that have been swept up by the Jannies and the moderation team, so.
She was fun D&D DM or whatever. EDW Raptor says, man, you really gave up on standing up during your streams really quick. No, I haven't actually. Notice the Joker's not fully in frame. I think, because I still have to come up with a solution for exactly how I'm going to have the ability to see the chats and all that stuff and control the stream. I think I'm going to have to move the desk much closer to this wall, which will then have me standing up again. I just haven't had time to figure that out because I am, still working on a bunch of other shit that is at my studio as well. But no, the standing up is coming up. That's still a part of it. One of the reasons my desk is as far this way as it is because I bought that VR headset. I was going to play VR games on Twitch and like do that sword and magic one where you just stab a bunch of like scantily clad people to death or go. There's that one where it's like a bar fight and you just go kill everybody in a bar. I was going to just do a bunch of that.
He's so annoying to listen to. Holy shit.
Did anyone notice a Rittenhouse reference in the new season of The Boys? Judge told a lawyer to not get brazen, not call them victims. Kyle Rittenhouse equals Homelander now. That's cool. Raggedy Ann says, how'd you like those text-to-speech hard R's at the hearing? I told the guy when I sat down and I saw like 9 pages of visitors on the Zoom thing, I was like, you guys normally get like a lot of visitors? He's like, well, some days we do. And I was like, oh, God damn it. Buddy, you're about to have a whole lot more than normal. I didn't know at that time anything like about the news of the arrest or whatever coming out. So I didn't know any of that. And so when I saw those, and you hear the judge, like, can you stop the binging? Because it was so fucking far behind from people joining the Zoom call. Boom, 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 boom. It was just a backlog of that chime. And he's like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know. I'm just sitting there like, okay, I guess.
And Y says, where do you work? Well, that's a great question to tell the internet. Don't worry about it. I get, it's nothing crazy. I get paid like 20 an hour. It's a little better than like the lowest of the earth. Okay. It's a step above working at the grocery store or at the deli or at the Culver's. We're one step beyond that, but still nothing crazy.
They're like, I'm like, is this normal? Guy's like, I don't know. I'm like, this isn't normal, homie. Like, this is not, Jesus, you guys don't even know. You don't even know. You know who I am. You know who I am. You know my name.
This dude, he's so unfunny. He's like, I'm assuming there's a 2005 reference in there. I don't know what it is, but like, what the fuck?
Turbo Bastard says, I sent my deleted super chat as an XDM. Read it, please. Maybe. Kind of depends on what it says. Probably a mistake because, sometimes when you're like moderating in chat moves as you're doing something. So I don't know. Sorry, man. But yeah, happy to read that. Chandler H. Barbecue and Ice says, not saying I didn't take a nibble. Of course you did. We all would. I would definitely. Natasha Very Good says, is this your rock bottom? Natasha, I hope every bad day of mine is my rock bottom. You all like, I am someone who tries to be optimistic about life. And here's why. Not to get gay, but a long time ago, I told a friend of mine this when he was in a tough time. I just gotten out of a tough time. And I said, man, one of the things that keeps me faithful, I don't talk about my faith a lot and I'm not going to belabor it here, but one of the things that keeps me faithful and lets me think that maybe there are some little nudges of help along the way is that no matter how shitty things get, I've always gone ahead and looked back and realized that the shitty things that I was going through, no matter how bad they were, always brought me to the good thing I was in later. And without that shitty thing, I wouldn't have made it there.
Cope.
Something would have brought me somewhere else. And I don't know
Literal
what it would have been. Maybe it would have been better. Maybe it would have been worse. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that I had a shitty thing. I ended up in a good thing. And I know that because of one, I was in.
He's not sober, dude. I literally have this on 1.5 speed. There's no way he's sober. I promise you, I could take like, let's say 5 shots of vodka. I'd be quicker and just more witty than this guy. And again, it's not a brag. I'm just saying this guy's on something. I promise. Just from what I can tell. Again, people are saying Adderall. I'm saying probably booze. Granted, he's not drinking a lot, but he could have pre-gamed it. But but harkens back to college. Before you get into the club, you want to pre-game so you don't have to pay as much. On alcohol. I remember I went to one thing and they were selling Michelob Ultras for like $17. Like, dude, what the fuck? And that was like a while ago. So imagine what it is now.
The other, and I can't like speculate or predict what another outcome would be. So is this my rock bottom? I always hope bad things are my rock bottom because I'm always looking for the good thing that they'll lead to. And that's one of the few instances where you'll hear me openly talk about how faith specifically, yes, my Christian faith, I know, so weird, how that faith specifically has impacted my outlook on life and does. And I encourage everybody to go back through your life and find those moments because tell you what, remembering those bad times leading to good times is what gets you through the next bad time as well. So there you go. Legion Shorty says, what are your thoughts on the Karen Reed trial? I haven't been watching any trials, guys. I might be picking one up very soon, but I need some friends to help me catch up on it. We'll see.
Tony says, good show. Congratulations on the bachelor's and good luck on your JD. I'm going into my senior year, so there's still another year. I'm 21. And so I got another year of criminal justice, and then comes the JD. Now, what I've figured out actually is that a lot of people for some reason take a gap year. So we'll just see how those LSATs come in. I haven't really started studying it because they just recently changed it to get rid of the logic games. But I do have friends that are going to law school, and so I know a lot about that shit now. But anyway.
Echo 36 is hire all the lawyers, stream mobile, sell your doc. Oh, my documentary? Only if I get played by like Justin Long or something. Turbo Bastard says takes at least 2 VR sessions to adjust. Keep at it. It's been a minute. I don't know if I will or not. Right now I have other things on my mind. All Hope is Lost says you look like aged leather. Yeah. That's been wrapped around a pumpkin, stacked up on top of a bird cage. That's cool. I found that women find me more attractive when I look older.
Oh my God, the fucking cope. The cope. This is bad. This is so bad. This is so bad.
Particularly Lady Rackets. So that's good for me. I don't know. Chili Cheese J says, I like you, so I'll let you not giving me a shot at the power pad aside, though I need it. Well, someday maybe you could try it. I'm just not selling it to you. So at this point, just need to know your favorite NES or SNES game from childhood. There was an SNES game where you were a robot thing and you could reverse gravity. I can't remember what it's called, but I played the fuck out of that game and I really liked it. Legendary Wings was also a great game that I loved. Most dope, that was NES, I think. Most dope 401 says right or wrong, innocent or guilty. I'm praying for you and your family, brother. Look, a lot of people have asked how they can help specifically. And I always feel weird asking people like for that because like, oh, well, prayers. No, I actually believe that. And when people do let me know that they're praying for me, like it really is kind of uplifting because I know that for most people really do, when they ask, they really do want to help and know how. And they don't know what to do. And I don't know what to tell them. But if that is something that they can do, that's great because I don't even know what to do for myself many times. Like, so if you can find some way to do that, and if you're not a praying person, just good thoughts and good vibes, it legitimately, like finding out that people are just thinking about you positively helps. I don't know. Ladybug Lisa.
Such bad advice.
Says, my wish for you is that you'll realize some of those you might be mad at now actually do care about.
It's a lot of work, good kid.
Care about you. Oh.
We're in the home stretch, folks. 10 more minutes. I got to work, and then I have to go to a political function for like 3 hours. And I'm on 5 hours of sleep, which is my fault. I stayed up until 4 a.m. So that's my bad. But yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up in about 10 minutes. If you guys, there's 22 of you watching. If you guys want to like type number one, like the number one, to let me know who's in chat, so I can get a roll call, just so that I know who are the diehards. I would like to see that, so I can have a little bit more credit for you going forward. When I do eventually have bigger audiences, ideally, praying, God willing, I'll be like, oh, I remember you from that Rekieta stream. Hopefully.
Yeah. You're probably mistaken about who I'm mad at. But what I know that no one ever will realize is that many people who profess to be to care about you, they're like, I just care, like they don't. And it's a nasty part of business in media is that it benefits people to both care and not care at various times. But I'm not policing that. I don't care about that aspect of it. I find it funny and interesting, especially when it's obvious. But people are going to do what they do. And what you typically find with me is until someone openly does something that I find rather untoward, I've usually given a long, long time of just not really saying anything and just let it go. And I don't hold much animus over it. But when people start coming sideways with some bullshit, don't expect me to just always be quiet. But I'm also not going to make it a fucking ongoing thing. Icon Bucket says, Ben Shapiro lives at Arizona Charlie's. Am I right? I don't even know what that means.
The fuck?
Christopher Dominguez. Welcome Paralegal.
That was such a weird thing to type out in the super chat. It makes me think, what if the Rekieta fans that are remaining are also addicts? I don't know why it took me so long to actually think of that, but it just occurred to me just now. Maybe they're all equally as coked out. Maybe not coked out because that would imply they're successful because I think coke is pretty expensive. But I'm saying like maybe they're off of vodka screwdriver or 5 of those.
Broken Baker says, if you need a Karen Reed update, get Valhalla Waits on. He's been covering it, and it's his birthday. I'm not doing that tonight. At some point, maybe. I know they're not interesting. I was asleep. Nicola Maxwell says, Nick, get Valhalla on. Hashtag free Zachariah Anderson. Think I need to do anything to the toe or to put him in any place. I think I'll just go on disregarding his existence, and he'll do whatever it is that he's going to do. No one needs my help with him. Well, I mean, he does, but no one else does. Allie B from Tennessee.
Okay, let me double check who that was about. I kind of skipped around. Sorry.
Hashtag free Zachariah to put the toe in his place. That'd be on tonight. We're almost done. Chad Boozmock says, Nick, I hope you get to put the toe in his place. That'd be very cool. That nerd is getting remarkably insufferable. Say hi to Melton and NLO. Look, I don't think I need to do anything to the toe or to put him in any place. I think I'll just go on disregard.
So that refers to Steel Toe, which again is like one of the most tacky names I could ever fathom. The Steel Toe Morning Show. That in and of itself ought to be a bigger felony than whatever the fuck Nick is facing. That is a god awful show name, by the way. And again, is the guy like a blue collar person, steel toe? Like, are you like working on telephone poles or some shit? We don't know. But the point being is that, insofar as he's concerned, the guy talked about how he fucked Kayla Rekieta, which is Nick's wife, and all this other debauchery. I would personally have a big umbrage with Aaron, even if Aaron is kind of in the right, obviously, with the whole addiction scandal. But that being said, he's saying, oh, I'm not going to do anything to Aaron. Sure you won't. We'll see.
His existence. And he'll do whatever it is that he's going to do. No one needs my help with him. Well, I mean, he does, but no one else does. Allie B from Tennessee, praying for you and your family. You'll get through this. God puts all of us through trials, and he will help you through this.
All this wishy-washy bullshit praying for you. Shut the fuck up. Which sounds like a bad thing to say, but clearly this guy's a piece of shit, and he's not, like, you know, it'd be one thing if he were repentant, but he's not.
Fuck government, fuck the haters. Mousecop5 says, do you think your kids are scared or sad right now? Right now, I highly doubt that. Mousecop5, hey man, my grandma just died tonight, and I'm crying my eyes out. I'd really feel better if my favorite streamer would take a shot on stream, just once. No,
that's fucking hilarious. Okay, that's a good troll. That is a fucking hilarious troll. Oh god, that's so funny.
Alcohol in my house, guys.
Cap. Are we calling Cap? Number 1 in chat for Cap.
Mascot5 says, why did you say that Mexican can't spell corn? All they can spell is repair. What does that mean? Did I say that? That's too funny for me to have said it.
What does that even mean? What's the pun?
Says, I want you and your family to be healthy and whole. You've helped me through many a night since my husband got rapid onset dementia from the shot combined with another medication. Life stomps you in the head.
This guy's blaming, so this girl's blaming the husband's dementia on the vaccine. Okay, great.
Rock bottom, but legal mindset is an actual bottom, so there's that. Damn.
Okay, so now he's going along with the joke that Legal Mindset, who's a YouTuber in the same sphere, in the same sector, saying that Legal Mindset is like a gay bottom. Meanwhile, again, Nick Rekieta has been known for having his wife get fucked by Steel Toe morning show host Aaron Nemholte, which is, I think, also pretty embarrassing. And again, is it true that the guy's a bottom? We don't know. The other guy, Legal Mindset, that is. But insofar as the cuck mindset is, I think that Nick is owning that title pretty well.
See, Tay Marius says, I cried watching Good Logic Show and love and respect for you. Prayers to you and your 6 loved ones, Nick. Thank you. Mo Lester says, I know viewership's been down, but wasn't there a better way to go viral? There's always a better way to go viral. That's why you went viral. Anyways, best wishes to you, the wife, and the girlfriend. Oh, thanks. Turbo Bastard.
Why would you say that? Why would he admit to April being his girlfriend implicitly? Fucking idiot.
Your toast and honest moments are legendary, have proven your genuineness countless times. You're a beacon of free speech and worth defending at the expense of backlash. Look, if you do, I always appreciate it. I never ask people to do it, and I urge them not to just for their own. Cool. He hearts this. Let's see. Samantha Edie says, sent the last without a message. Love your content. South Carolina resident. I got my whole office watching you during Murdoch trial. Fantastic. Welcome back, stream. I know I fucked up the Rumble link because I broadcasted on the wrong channel. So sorry, but I'll try and get the Rumble studio working. I don't know what was wrong with it. Christopher Dominguez says, I pray for you and your family to pull through. Thank you. We will very soon. Look, I can't fault you for your negative opinions. You have one side of the story. You have the accusations. You've got to read it.
Okay, we heard this part
very well and choose judgment. I won't ever fall, advertent or inadvertent. And I look forward to seeing you soon. All right, guys. Peace. As always, peace.
Great outro, bro. So that was it. We're hold on. Let's set this up real quick. Yeah, so we're wrapping it up. I have a hard out in like 2 or 3 minutes, so we're really gonna have the final roll call, to be honest. So we're gonna play this great instrumental, "All My Life" by Metro Boomin and Future. Okay, So you guys have less than 2 minutes to give me your final impressions, your final comments. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be busy for probably 7 to 8 hours. So if there's a late night stream, there might be that, like I did last time. But anyway. We're gonna have a staring contest. Oh God. So let's wrap it up right here. Last chance for calls and comments. Comment down below if you want more Rekieta content, by the way. Dude, my thing is so laggy. It's because I raised it to 1080p instead of 720. I might have to change that in the settings because when I live stream, it kind of lags a little bit. Goosey says good stream, thank you. Tony says 07, thank you. Melissa says thank you. What's up, Melissa? Another win for the Toe says distinction. So okay, that's a comedy reference. He disrespected his family. Yes, Nick did. You want me to send the Nick stuff? I know. I think I know all the Nick stuff. I follow the Twitter accounts that alog Nick, and I've been following the thread, like literally every page. So thank God that it's been slowing down recently, so I could catch up. Not every single page, no, but I'm seeing like the last couple hundred. Like the last week, I've been checking on it, and you know, anytime I'm taking a shit or something, or I'm waiting around in the office, I'll be reading stuff like that. So, so one last minute. Over to Robert Gibia. Okay, see ya. And Lemend, whatever. I don't know how to say that name. Okay, you're gonna be following the trial. Cool. You want me to send over the Nick stuff? Like I said, not really. Late night. I mean, if somebody has my number, they can text me about certain details. But insofar as this stream's concerned, I'm gonna be gone for several hours. So I'll be available in like maybe 7 or 8. So like I said, I have a number. People can text me, I guess, with reasonable request. But all right, we're gonna do a final countdown. Backwards. All right, I'll see y'all on the next one. Adios.